Playing around with nuclear weapons in movies and games is fun, but in reality, it's more horrible than you can imagine. Today we're going to explore what would really happen if a nuclear weapon were detonated in a major city, Washington D.C., and why the danger is greater than ever. The world has changed. Once again, world leaders are publicly and explicitly threatening each other with nuclear weapons. Many experts believe the risks of a nuclear strike is now higher than it's been in decades. But how devastating would the consequences be if there was a nuclear strike in the capital city of the US tomorrow? Now let's consider that even if a nuclear war doesn't happen like in World War II, a single miscalculated explosion from a bomb like the Little Boy could still be extremely fatal, and the consequences would be far deadlier than what would happen in Hiroshima. Washington, D.C. is a densely populated metropolis filled with millions of people, towering skyscrapers, and critical infrastructure. In fact, nearly every political important decision is taken from there. A nuclear blast here wouldn't just be devastating, it would be something way more than that. Just like every day, it'll begin as an ordinary morning in the busiest city. People will rush to work, grab their coffee, and go about their routines. Children will head to school, friends will gather, and commuters will fill the subways. Then in a single instant, everything will change. A blinding flash of light brighter than 1,000 suns will erupt over the city. The explosion would occur at ground level, unleashing the power of Little Boy, the 15-kiloton nuclear bomb dropped on Hiroshima in 1945. But this time, it'll target one of the most populated and advanced cities on Earth, delivering devastation unimaginable. Modern nuclear weapons are far more sophisticated than the ones used in 1945, capable of inflicting exponentially more destruction. Compared to TNT, this bomb is 1,000 times deadlier. Within milliseconds, a ball of plasma hotter than the surface of the sun will form, expanding outward with unimaginable force. Everything within 1 kilometer radius, buildings, cars, trees, and people, will be vaporized instantly. There will be no remains, only shadows scorched into the pavement, a haunting reminder of what was once there. Following the flash, a searing thermal pulse will sweep across the city. This pulse, a wave of blistering heat, will ignite everything in its path for up to 13 kilometers. Plastic will melt, wood will combust, and human skin will burn. Thousands of people will be set aflame, running in terror as living torches, only to collapse moments later. The firestorm will consume entire neighborhoods, create an inferno that feeds on itself, growing larger and more intense with every passing second. Landmarks will vanish in the blink of an eye. Iconic parks and green spaces will turn into blazing infernos. Rivers and lakes nearby will boil, evaporating in the heat. Bridges, essential lifelines for escape, will crumble under the shockwave, and subway systems will transform into death traps, filled with flames, smoke, and suffocating heat. There will be no way out. Then comes the shockwave, traveling at supersonic speeds. It'll demolish everything in its path. Skyscrapers will collapse as if made of sand. Cars will be hurled through the air like toys, and debris will fly at deadly speeds. Anyone caught within the 10-kilometer radius who isn't killed instantly will be crushed, burned, or thrown hundreds of meters, their bodies shattered upon impact. Even farther away, windows will shatter up to 20 kilometers, sending razor-sharp shards of glass slicing through anyone nearby. The destruction will be relentless. As the dust begins to settle, a towering mushroom cloud will rise into the sky, a grim marker of the devastation. Tons of debris, ash, and radioactive particles will be sucked into the atmosphere, darkening the sky. Within minutes, black radioactive rain will begin to fall, contaminating everything it touches. This rain, filled with deadly particles, will poison the air, water, and soil. Breathing it in or touching it will seal a person's fate. They'll be dead, even if they don't realize it yet. Radiation will engulf the area, sparking nausea, vomiting, and seizures in survivors. Those who escape immediate death will face the slow agony of radiation sickness, their organs failing over time. Cancer rates will skyrocket in the months and years to follow, and yet this horrifying moment will only mark the beginning of the nightmare. Washington, D.C. will cease to exist. Millions will die within minutes, their lives extinguished in the blink of an eye. Survivors will wander through the ruins, desperately searching for food and water and medical help. But there will be none. Hospitals will be flattened, roads will be impassable, and rescue efforts will be impossible amidst the chaos. Emergency response teams, even if they could mobilize, would be rendered powerless in the face of such widespread devastation. Radiation poisoning will doom many who survived the initial blast. Infection, organ failure, and starvation will claim countless others. The infrastructure of the city and its society will collapse entirely. Even those far from the epicenter will face starvation, disease, and lawlessness. Meanwhile, the world will watch in horror, but by the time aid arrives, it'll be too late. The city, its people, and its history will be nothing more than ash and memory, a grim reminder of the catastrophic power humanity holds in its hands. This is the terrifying reality of the nuclear explosion. But Little Boy was just one bomb. Today's nuclear weapons will be 70 times more powerful. If a nuclear attack happens against the US on today's date, it'll likely come from a country that possesses nuclear weapons and has political or military disputes with the US. The most notable countries include Russia, China, and North Korea. These countries are openly hostile, others are unpredictable, and some tensions are rising faster than ever. A regional conflict, a terrorist attack, or even an accident could trigger devastation, unlike anything humanity has ever seen. Russia, which has had its rivalry with the US for decades, sees tensions worsening day by day. It possesses over 5,800 nuclear warheads, making it the most nuclear-armed country in the world, even more than the United States, which has around 5,500 nuclear weapons. But that's not all. China, known as the political powerhouse of Asia, has approximately 1,000 nuclear warheads, and this number is steadily increasing. Meanwhile, North Korea has developed nuclear capabilities, adding another layer of global concern. And these weapons are not like the Little Boy or Fat Man bombs dropped in 1945. Today's nuclear warheads are far more advanced and powerful, some up to 70 times stronger in destructive capability. As we're talking about probable nuclear wars among the countries, what would happen if Russia actually decided to go through with a nuclear bomb in Washington, D.C.? Russia has approximately 5,900 nuclear warheads, with the US trailing just behind at 5,500. While these numbers alone are alarming, the real danger lies in advanced capabilities of these weapons. Among Russia's arsenal is the infamous Satan missile, officially known as the R-36-6, which has been a key part of their nuclear deterrent for years. But it's the newer RS-28 Sarmat, or Satan II, that truly showcases the terrifying potential of modern nuclear technology. Designed to carry multiple warheads, the Satan II is capable of bypassing missile defenses, making it an incredibly potent weapon. It can launch up to 15 warheads, each capable of hitting different targets anywhere in the world, ensuring that no place is safe. This is known as Multiple Independently Targetable Re-Entry Vehicles, MIRVs, a feature that allows the Satan II missile to overwhelm defenses and devastate multiple targets at once. Experts say that the Satan II missile has the potential to unleash anywhere from 15 to 50 megatons of TNT, a staggering amount of destructive power. To imagine the horror of it, let's consider a scenario. Picture a single Satan II missile heading toward Washington, D.C., with each of its 15 warheads carrying a yield of 1 megaton of TNT. These missiles are launched from land-based silos, and if one were to be fired from the UER missile base in southern Siberia, it would cover the long range of Washington, D.C. At lightning speed, it would reach its target in just 40 to 45 minutes. While it's unlikely that a single missile would be used in an actual war, let's imagine for a moment that it happens. To truly grasp the scale of its power, remember that in a previous example, we considered the destruction caused by the Little Boy atomic bomb, which released 15 kilotons of TNT over Washington, D.C. Now imagine the Satan II missile. Its power is 1,000 times greater, with 15 megatons of TNT. If Washington, D.C. couldn't recover from a single Little Boy bomb, the RS-28 missile would completely obliterate the city, leaving no chance for survival. But a prompt to destroy Washington, D.C. will most likely be the end of human civilization, as we all know the response of the attack will be beyond our imaginations, turning the world into a devastating wasteland, while shattering all the advancements the world has seen till now. This is the terrifying reality of nuclear warfare. The destruction isn't just a moment, it's a chain reaction that reverberates through generations, leaving death and desolation in its wake.